The galaxy had never known silence like this before. In every corner of known space, communication relays blinked out one after another. At first, the alien civilizations thought it was a technical fault, some solar interference perhaps. But when entire sectors went dark within hours, panic began to spread. Ships vanished mid-transmission, colonies stopped responding, and the great trade lanes became empty voids. The Galactic Council assembled in emergency session, their holograms flickering across the chamber like ghostly flames. Representatives from hundreds of worlds shouted over one another. "What is happening to the stars?" cried the High Speaker of the Varnith. "The systems of the Eastern Spiral are gone. No signals, no life," another delegate yelled. The silence was spreading faster than anyone could measure. It was not an attack they could see. No fleet, no weapon, no explosion. Just silence. Cold, heavy, absolute. Somewhere deep within the chamber, an old name was whispered. A name no one had dared speak aloud for generations. "Humans," said a voice trembling with fear. Every other delegate turned sharply, the word hanging in the air like a curse. Long ago, the humans had been exiled. Too dangerous, too unpredictable, too violent. After the Great War of Expansion, the Council had forbidden contact with them. Earth was declared off-limits, its fleets dismantled, or so the Council believed. But now, as the stars vanished, every ancient warning about humanity began to echo in their minds. "They warned us," murmured a pale-skinned ambassador. "They said there were things beyond the edge of space, things even they feared." The Council's leader, Archon Verketh, slammed his hand on the glowing table. "Enough superstition," he said, though his voice quivered. "This is a natural anomaly, not human trickery." But even as he spoke, the central communication beacon of the Council's own planet flickered, then died. The lights dimmed, and every delegate froze. For the first time in galactic history, the heart of the Council was cut off from the network. In the darkness, someone whispered again, "What if the humans were right?" Meanwhile, far away in the Sol system, humanity was watching. Earth's orbital command detected the first signs of collapse weeks before anyone else. A strange frequency was sweeping across the galactic plane. It wasn't just disrupting signals, it was erasing them. No reflection, no return, no data, just emptiness. To humanity's scientists, it looked like something alive, something feeding on communication energy itself. Admiral Rachel Sloan stood inside the Terran Defense Command, her face calm yet sharp as glass. "We told them to prepare for this," she said quietly. A young officer turned toward her, nervous. "Ma'am, the Council just lost their primary network. They'll come crawling to us soon." Sloan didn't smile, she only nodded. They always do when it's too late. In the depths of space, probes disappeared without trace. A vast region beyond the Orion Arm became a dead zone. The only faint signature detected came from the direction of the Galactic Core, a whisper too organized to be natural. Somewhere inside that darkness, something was moving. It wasn't a fleet, it wasn't an army. It was a presence. Every time it approached a star system, transmissions ceased, and the stars dimmed slightly. Back in the Council chamber, the panic became chaos. Some demanded evacuation to the outer rim, others called for immediate military action, though no one knew what to shoot at. A few whispered that perhaps only humans would understand such a threat. "They studied the unknown," said one elder ambassador. "They always feared what we refused to see." Archon Verketh stood again, his voice heavy with reluctant dread. "Prepare an envoy," he said slowly. "To Earth." The entire chamber fell silent. "To the humans?" Someone gasped. Verketh nodded. "We exiled them once for being too dangerous," he said. "But perhaps danger is what we need now." The delegates looked at each other with faces full of fear and shame. The thought of begging humanity for help felt unbearable. Yet the alternative was extinction, and as the silence crept ever closer, swallowing system after system, they knew they had no choice. Out among the stars, a Terran probe recorded something that made even hardened officers pale. A faint image, caught for only a second. a vast black shape blotting out the light of a sun, moving like a living shadow. The probe's signal ended abruptly, but before dying, one line of data came through, a message decoded in simple human language. "It's feeding." Admiral Sloane stared at the screen. Her expression unreadable, she turned to her crew and said, "Send word to the Council envoy. Tell them we're listening." Outside the command center, Earth's night sky shimmered faintly. Every star looked peaceful, yet humanity knew the truth. The silence wasn't just coming for the galaxy. It was coming for them all, and this time the humans wouldn't wait to be asked twice. The stars went silent, and humanity prepared to speak once more. The Galactic Council's great chamber floated in darkness, lit only by emergency lights. The silence outside was complete, and it pressed down on every mind like a heavy weight. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy's proud rulers felt small. Their fleets, their technology, their arrogance, all useless against something they could not even see. Archon Verketh sat at the head of the oval table, his fingers trembling. Before him flickered the fading hologram of the last surviving relay beacon. Each second the image distorted more, until finally it vanished, leaving only static. He closed his eyes and whispered, "We have no choice." Around him the delegates began to murmur nervously. The name human passed from one to another like a curse or a prayer. Ambassador Thal of the Runkai slammed his fist on the table. "You cannot mean to contact them," he hissed. "They are monsters, warmongers, destroyers." But an elder from the Varnath side shook her head slowly. "Perhaps monsters are what we need," she said softly. "Because whatever is coming, it devours gods." The debate raged for hours. Voices rising, trembling, pleading. Old memories surfaced. Stories of human wars that burned entire fleets in minutes. They remembered the siege of Koril, where humans fought until every ship was ash. They remembered how humanity refused surrender even when outnumbered 100-1. And they remembered the fear, the raw, unexplainable fear, that made the Council exile them. Now the same fear was returning. But this time, it was mixed with desperation. If the humans refused to help, the galaxy would fall. Finally, Archon Verketh stood, his voice low but sharp. "We sent them away because we feared what they might become," he said. "Now we will see what they became without us." He motioned to the security chief. "Prepare an envoy. We will go to Earth." The hall went quiet. Even those who had argued against it now stared in uneasy silence. There was no other path left, no other power strong enough to face the darkness. The envoy ship Eternal Harmony departed within the hour. A sleek diplomatic cruiser surrounded by smaller escorts. Its mission, simple yet terrifying, was to make contact with Earth, to beg humanity for help. The journey through the void was slow. Every few hours, another star vanished from their sensors. The navigator's voice grew softer each time. Another one gone. The silence between systems felt like moving through the breath of a predator. They could feel it, something vast and unseen watching them. Inside the ship, fear grew like a shadow. The crew spoke in whispers, afraid that even sound might attract the thing that was consuming the stars. Ambassador Thal tried to stay calm, staring at the stars outside. "How did we come to this?" he muttered, "begging the devils we once cast out." The captain, a quiet Catharian female, replied, "Because we are running out of angels." Back on Earth, Admiral Rachel Sloane stood on the balcony of the Terran Defense Command. Below her, the city of New Geneva glittered under the protective dome. It had been centuries since the humans had seen an alien ship near their space. But the sensors were clear. The envoy was coming. She turned to her aide. "Prepare a reception." The young officer hesitated. "Should we treat them as allies or intruders?" Sloane's eyes were cold. "We'll decide that after they kneel." When the Eternal Harmony entered Sol space, every human satellite locked on. Automated defenses powered up. Fleets moved silently into formation. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Human ships were vast, black, and silent, moving with eerie coordination. There were no broadcasts, no greetings, only the steady hum of precision and control. When the envoy's ship was finally guided to orbit above Earth, the aliens gazed at the planet below in awe, blue, alive, and impossibly calm. Like a predator asleep, Ambassador Thal tried to steady his voice. Requesting permission to open communication, he said into the console. The reply came instantly, cold and mechanical. Permission granted. You will speak when spoken to. The alien delegation was escorted to the Council Hall of Earth. The room was built of black stone and steel. No gold, no luxury. Only strength. Human guards stood still like statues, their faces hidden behind mirrored visors. Then she entered. Admiral Rachel Sloane, tall, calm, her uniform simple but commanding. Every alien instinct screamed danger as she stepped forward. Her eyes, sharp and emotionless, scanned the group. So, she said quietly, the galaxy finally remembers us. Archon Verketh bowed his head slightly. We come seeking aid, he said, his voice trembling. There is something devouring the stars. We cannot stop it. We need your help. Sloane stared for a long moment. The silence stretched heavy and unbearable. Finally, she spoke. You exiled us. You called us dangerous. She walked closer, her boots echoing softly. Now you call us saviors. Verketh tried to speak, but words failed. Sloane's expression softened slightly, just enough to be seen. Humanity does not forget, she said. But we also do not abandon. She turned toward her officers. Prepare the fleet. The aliens looked at one another. Stunned, they expected refusal. Maybe vengeance, not immediate action. Admiral, Thal asked carefully, you will help us? Sloane nodded once. Yes, she said. But understand this. When humanity moves, we command. Her final words echoed through the chamber. Your galaxy feared us once, she said. Now you will follow us. Or you will burn with your silence. The alien envoys bowed their heads. Realizing the truth, the humans were not the same species they exiled long ago. They had evolved into something greater, something terrifying. And as the first human fleets prepared for launch, the galaxy's fate shifted forever. Outside, the stars still flickered. But for the first time in months, one signal echoed across the void. It came from Earth, and it said only one word: begin. The void trembled as the human fleets awakened. For centuries, Earth had been silent, its true strength hidden beneath quiet skies. Now shipyards across Luna, Mars, and Titan came alive, glowing like forges of ancient gods. Thousands of vessels rose from their docks, dark metal gleaming beneath the sun. Each ship bore the insignia of the Terran Defense Armada, a mark the galaxy had not seen in generations. Aliens once spoke of humanity with fear, calling them the children of fire. They said humans built ships not for travel, but for vengeance, and now, as they watched those ships awaken again, they remembered why. Admiral Rachel Sloane stood on the bridge of the flagship Vanguard, her gaze fixed on the holomap showing the spreading darkness across the galaxy. It consumed stars, erased entire fleets, and grew stronger with every system it touched. She turned to her second officer, Commander Hayes. Have we confirmed the swarm's vector? She asked. Yes, Admiral, Hayes replied. It's moving toward the Galactic core, and fast. Sloane's expression did not change, but her voice grew colder. Then we intercept it before it reaches anyone else. Behind her, holographic screens displayed transmissions from alien command centers. Every species begged for guidance. We've never seen such a threat, cried the delegate of the Arsoon Dominion. Our ships are vanishing, shouted another. Sloane answered calmly. You won't fight it alone, but you will fight under Terran command. The alien leaders hesitated. Pride fighting fear, but one by one they agreed, for no one could deny the power standing before them. When the Terran fleets emerged from hyperspace near the edge of the Orion Arm, every alien ship waiting there fell silent. Their crews stared at the incoming armada, rows upon rows of colossal vessels gliding out of warp. Each one moved with precision. No wasted motion, no confusion. It was not a fleet. It was a single living organism, disciplined, patient, unstoppable. A deep human voice echoed across the interlinked channels. This is Admiral Sloane of the Terran Vanguard. From this moment forward, all fleets operate under Unified Protocol Alpha 1. There was no debate, no protest, only quiet acknowledgement. The galaxy had just surrendered its command to humanity. The aliens expected banners, speeches, glory, but the humans simply worked. No music. No celebration, only orders, strategy, and silence. They had seen war too many times to find joy in it. The first engagement came sooner than expected. Scouts reported the silence moving toward the twin suns of the Dareth system. The swarm was visible now, a black mist spreading across the void. It pulsed like something alive, feeding on light and energy. Every time it touched a planet, its glow faded to nothing. Alien commanders panicked, ordering retreats, but the human fleets held firm. "Activate pulse barriers," Sloan commanded. Dozens of Terran carriers released energy fields that shimmered like blue fire. The swarm recoiled, twisting and shrieking across the sensors. "It's reacting," Hayes said. "It feels pain," Sloan nodded. "Good," she said. "Then it can die." Human cruisers unleashed precision volleys of plasma torpedoes. The explosions lit up the void like dying stars. Each blast tore pieces off the swarm, scattering them into dust, but the swarm adapted, forming spear-like arms that struck back. Entire sections of the alien fleet vanished under its touch. Screams echoed over open channels. The silence was feeding again. Sloan gritted her teeth. "Deploy Omega pattern," she ordered. The human ships shifted formation instantly, forming concentric circles around the swarm. Massive pulse cannons charged, their light piercing through the darkness. "Fire," she commanded. The combined blast hit like the wrath of creation itself. The swarm cracked apart, its shadowy tendrils folding inward. The energy wave rippled through the stars, and for a brief moment the silence broke. Every communicator across the fleet sparked back to life. Voices returned, cheers erupted, but Sloan remained still. "It's not dead," she whispered. "It's learning." On the alien bridge of the council ship Eternal Harmony, Archon Verketh watched the battle in awe. Human coordination defied logic, each ship anticipating the next like shared thought. "They move as if they are one mind," he said softly. Beside him, Ambassador Thal replied, "No. Archon, they move as if they are one purpose." When the swarm retreated into the deeper void, Sloan ordered pursuit halted. "Let it run," she said. "It will lead us to its source." Hayes looked uneasy. "Admiral." "We've already lost a dozen ships." Sloan's eyes narrowed. "We can replace ships, Commander," she said quietly. "We can't replace stars." The battle left the galaxy trembling. Every surviving alien fleet sent reports, praising humanity's control and precision, but the humans sent no replies. They simply repaired, rearmed, and plotted the next phase in the quiet aftermath. Sloan stood before the main viewport. The stars beyond seemed peaceful again, but she knew better. "This is just the beginning," she murmured. Somewhere deep within the swarm's core, a new signal pulsed, faint, rhythmic, and intelligent. It was a voice. Distorted, but clear enough for Terran AI to translate. It said, "We know you now, humans." Sloan exhaled slowly. "Then come find us," she said. "We'll be waiting." The stars shimmered faintly, as if listening, and once again humanity stood between the galaxy and oblivion. But this time the galaxy followed willingly, because when the Terrans returned, even the darkness learned to fear the light. The galaxy's night burned again, this time with warfire instead of silence. The swarm had retreated into the black gulf beyond the Orion arm, but its hunger only grew. Every hour new systems fell dark, their stars dimmed to cold embers, what the aliens called the devouring night. Humanity called simply the enemy. Admiral Rachel Sloan stood in the command pit of the Vanguard, her voice calm as ever. "All fleets ready their jump drives," she ordered. "Destination, the Void Rift." A low murmur filled the bridge as crew members exchanged fearful glances. The Void Rift, an empty region where sensors failed and physics bent. No ship had ever returned from it until now. Humanity decided to go in. "Ma'am," Commander Hayes said softly, "if we go there, we might not come back." Sloan looked at him, her eyes like steel. "Then we make sure it was worth it." Across the stars, alien fleets formed up beside the Terrans, massive cruisers of the Varnath, the sleek dreadnoughts of the Catharians, even the cold, crystal ships of the Arsoon, all gathered under human command for the first time in galactic history. Every species followed one flag. As the fleets aligned, a hush fell across the comm network. Sloan's voice came through. "Clear and steady, remember this," she said. "Fear once divided us, but now it unites us. Today, humanity stands not as conquerors, but as guardians. Whatever lies in that void, it will not take our stars. A ripple of courage spread through every ship. Even the most fearful alien captains felt the pulse of strength in those words. Then came the signal. Jump. The fleets tore through hyperspace, light streaking across their hulls. When they emerged, the view stole every breath. The void rift stretched before them, a vast wound in reality. Dark tendrils spiraled like living storms, feeding on nearby stars. And at its center floated something colossal, a structure or perhaps a creature shaped like a black sun pulsing with rhythm. By the stars, Hayes whispered. It's building itself. Sloane studied the readings. It's consuming energy to grow, she said. Target its core, fire at will. Thousands of plasma cannons ignited at once. Beams of searing light tore through the darkness. Explosions rippled across the swarm's surface, scattering fragments of shadow, but those fragments twisted, fused, and formed new shapes. The swarm fought back, its energy lashes slicing through the void. Alien ships were the first to fall. Their shields melted under the pressure. Entire fleets dissolved into glowing dust. Screams echoed through comm channels before fading into static. Sloane clenched her fists. Deploy the Terran phalanx, she commanded. From behind the main fleet, enormous carriers released hundreds of smaller ships. They moved in perfect formation, forming interlocking barriers of light. The swarm struck, but the barriers held, absorbing the energy and reflecting it back. For the first time, the creature hesitated. Now, Sloane said, release Project Horizon. A deep hum filled the human ships. From the Vanguard's core, a golden pulse began to build. Every Terran vessel synchronized their energy signatures. Then, in one unified burst, the pulse exploded outward. It was not a weapon of destruction. It was light, pure, and ancient. The swarm screamed, not in sound, but in vibration. The darkness peeled away in waves, revealing the true form beneath. A vast skeletal construct made of fractured matter and living code. It was not alive, it was a machine born from the death of galaxies. Hayes stared in shock. It's older than the stars, he said. Sloane nodded slowly. And it's dying, so it feeds. The pulse continued to expand. Weakening the creature's control, alien fleets rallied, firing volleys into the exposed core. Human ships advanced through the storm, shields blazing, engines roaring. Every second pushed them closer to destruction. But humanity had already decided they would not stop. At last the Vanguard reached the core. Sloane gave the final command. All ships detonate Omega drives. The words echoed through the void. Every Terran ship activated its engines to overload. Their cores erupted in a brilliant cascade of white fire. The explosion tore through the rift, collapsing its swirling storms. Light swallowed the darkness, and for a moment, all sound vanished, then silence. But it was a different silence this time. Not the cold, hungry void, it was peace far away. In the Council's chambers, the holograms of alien leaders flickered to life again. Communications restored, stars shining bright once more. Cheers erupted across the galaxy. The devouring night was gone, but at a cost. Thousands of human ships had been lost. Entire armadas reduced to light and memory. Archon Verketh stood before the hologram of Earth's command channel, his voice shaking. Humanity has done what no one else could, he said. They fought not for power, but for life itself. Across the stars, every species lowered their banners and raised one, the silver insignia of the Terran Vanguard. And though the battle was won, deep within the fading rift, a faint pulse flickered again, a whisper carried through the void, too faint for sensors. But if one listened closely, they could almost hear it say, "We are not done." Admiral Sloane's last recorded message played across every fleet. "We fought for the galaxy," she said, her voice calm and proud. "If the darkness returns, humanity will rise again, because we are the light that does not die." The stars were shining again, brighter than they had in centuries. Across the galactic rim, transmissions returned. Life signals flickered, and the silence that had once terrified the cosmos was finally broken. But the cost was written in light. The ashes of human ships still drifted like faint silver dust across the void. Every civilization that survived looked toward Earth, toward the home of the ones they once called monsters, and now they called them saviors. In the hall of the Galactic Council, rebuilt after the war, hundreds of alien leaders stood in silence. They had gathered not to argue, but to honor. At the center of the hall stood a memorial, an enormous crystal sphere filled with the names of the fallen Terran fleet. It pulsed gently with blue light, powered by a fragment of the Vanguard's core. Archon Verketh spoke first, his voice trembling. When the stars went dark, we turned to those we once feared, he said. Humanity could have left us to die, but they did not. They fought for worlds that once rejected them, for lives that once cursed them. He paused, his eyes wet. They were everything we said they were not. A deep silence filled the chamber. Then one by one the alien leaders knelt. No one had ordered it. No law demanded it. It was instinct, respect, surrender. They bowed their heads before the holographic emblem of the Terran Vanguard. Glowing above the memorial, it was the first time in history the galaxy knelt as one. Far away, in orbit above Earth, the surviving Terran fleets returned home. The ships that made it back were scarred and silent. Each carried fewer crew than it launched with, but they carried victory. Admiral Rachel Sloane stood on the observation deck of the rebuilt Vanguard 2. Her reflection merged with the stars beyond. "We did it," Commander Hayes said softly beside her. Sloane nodded, her voice quiet. "We stopped it for now." Earth looked peaceful below, its blue oceans glimmering like nothing had changed. But humanity had changed. They were no longer the outcasts of the galaxy. They were its protectors, its shield, and its warning. Messages flooded from every world. Gratitude, apologies, promises, but humans didn't respond with celebration. They rebuilt, repaired, trained. They knew that victory did not mean safety, because in the silence that followed, they had heard something alive beyond the rift. In the dark edge of the galaxy, near the ruins of the Void Rift, a Terran scout ship drifted quietly. Its sensors scanned the remaining debris, searching for energy traces. At first there was nothing. Then, a faint pulse, rhythmic, deliberate. The AI on board translated the signal. 3 simple words. "We are evolving." The transmission reached Earth within minutes. Inside the Terran command, alarms lit up. Commander Hayes rushed into Admiral Sloane's office. "Ma'am, we've got a signal from the rift." Sloane turned slowly, her face calm but her eyes sharp. "Is it the swarm?" she asked. "We don't know," Hayes replied. "But it sounds aware." Sloane looked out at the stars once more. "They've seen us," she said, "and now they're learning." She tapped a control on her wrist console. Activating the interstellar broadcast, her voice echoed across every allied world. "This is Admiral Rachel Sloane of the Terran Vanguard. The war is over, but peace is not permanent. Humanity stands ready, and we call upon all who value life to do the same." Her words spread across the galaxy like a new kind of light. Every planet, every ship, every child in the stars heard her voice that day, and they believed her, because they had seen what humanity could do when the universe trembled. A few days later, the Galactic Council officially dissolved its old command structure. In its place, a new alliance was born, the Terran Accord. Led by humanity, protected by all, every race that once distrusted humans now swore allegiance to them. For the first time, the galaxy had a unified defense under one banner. During the inauguration ceremony, Archon Verketh stood beside Sloane. He bowed his head and said, "The galaxy once feared the human spirit because it burned too bright. Now we understand. It is that light which kept the stars alive." Sloane looked around the vast chamber filled with faces of every kind. Scaled, furred, metallic, and human alike, she spoke softly, but her voice carried through every translator. "Fear is not our legacy," she said. "Hope is." Later that night, when the celebrations had ended and the stars hung quiet again, Sloane stood alone on the balcony of the Terran Command Tower. She looked up, her reflection shimmering in the glass. The sky was full of life once more, ships moving, signals blinking, laughter returning. But somewhere, beyond the edge of perception, she felt the faint whisper of the void. A breeze passed through the open window, carrying a single echo from deep space. A voice neither mechanical nor alive, it said softly, almost curiously. "We understand now why they fear you." Sloane smiled faintly. "Good," she whispered. "Then they'll know what's coming if they ever return." She turned away, her reflection fading into the glow of Earth's nightlights. The camera panned upward, stars filling the frame once more, and above them all, a single beam of light from the Vanguard 2 cut through the darkness, a symbol of the species that the galaxy once feared and now worshipped. The final transmission of the Terran Vanguard ended with humanity's new creed. We are the light that survives the silence.